I'm going to be student 1. I'm going to turn to page 254. And I'm going to read some sentences to you. And you have to determine which sentences belong to which person. Okay? So listen. He gets up, okay, he gets up late. Which one is that? That's Sam, right? Okay. He plays tennis. Sam. He studies in the morning. Josh. Looks like Josh, right? He doesn't pick up his clothes.
Sam.
He makes his bed.
Josh.
He gets up early.
Josh.
Okay, so basically this is a dictation, and instead of just answering it like I would say, you would have to write it down. Okay, we're not going to do that now. So you could actually pair your students up and they would do it. Now, why don't you all, just so you can see what I read, turn to page 254. You could all turn to page 254 in the back of your book, and you will see that this is a student-to-student exercise. Down at the bottom, I'm sorry, at the top there, you have the example set A and set B. So I just read set A, which was student 1 would read, and then we would switch, and then the next student, you know, in the pair would read set B. Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
These are fun. Students love to do these kinds of things. Okay. Again, now looking at these 2 pages, how long do you think it would take to do those pages? Again, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. You getting the flow a little bit? Okay. Turn the page. Page 22, 23. We're not going to do these, but you can see it's the same type of setup, working together, exercises, etc., etc. Page number 24, 25, we're still working on the grammar and going through it. Okay. So it's going to take you to get up until this point, probably about, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours at least to do those pages to get through. Maybe even a little bit more depending on what you flow into. Okay? All right, then we get to the big picture, 26 and 27. And this is kind of that halfway point in a unit, working with a picture. These authors love this section the most. They really think it's fun. They do it. Don't forget, in that handout that I gave you, there are additional tips that you can use. So there are suggestions in the teacher's guide, and there are suggestions that I gave you in that handout for additional activities. So the point I want to make is that the student book is basically the spine, the kind of the skeleton around which you flesh it out with things that you bring in, that you get from that sheet, or you get from the teacher's guide that I gave you, because there are so many different things that you can do. Okay? Is that making sense? All right. Let's just flip through quickly. We'll finish the unit. The average community on page number 28, 29, you have the reading. And I just wanted to show you one thing about reading. This is kind of fun. Now, can you all read that? No. Yes, you can. I bet everyone in this room can read it.
Well, it's just
small.
small.
Oh, it's too small?
You can't see it.
It's all right.
It's been 200%.
Control key in the mouse.
Is there a 200%?
Yeah.
Control key.
Where's the
On the
200?
keyboard.
On control?
Control key and then scroll with the mouse. It should
Oh,
be-
you're beautiful. You taught me something I didn't
Keep
know.
going, keep going. You can make it really big. And then just move the document. Now,
How do you do Control V?
you just hit the control key and scroll
Oh,
with the
Control
mouse.
key.
Control
Okay, I
key
got
on the
Control V,
keyboard.
but print.
You can also.
All right, let's just, that's good. That's one. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I just learned something today, guys. A lot. Okay.
Understand what I was reading.
Let's all read it together. The phenomenal power of the human mind. I couldn't believe that I could actually understand what I was reading. According to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order letters in the word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be in the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still still read it without problems. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole.
That's true.
Isn't that cool? So what does that mean for teaching our students?
Blends.
The bigger picture.
Sometimes.
Exactly, it's a bigger picture. Yeah. We don't want them to necessarily read every single word all the time. It's the bigger picture that we have to kind of bring up.
Well, then why did the disability when people reverse their letters, why is that such a problem then?
Dyslexia.
I mean, it's like.
Well, that's a special case. Yeah, that's a special case.
Because the vision tells the brain something otherwise, that's why they have a problem.
Might be a medical.
But here, the brain automatically does it.
Maybe because the first and last letters are not necessarily exactly the ones swapped.
When they read it,
That's
yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
very,
that would-
maybe
that
so.
would account
I'm not a
for it.
reading expert in that area, but yeah.
I think a second language person would have a heck of a time.
Well, they wouldn't
Yeah.
understand that, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course not. I think the point is, let's look at page 20. The point I want to make here is look on page number 30. Is to not expect the students to read every single word and understand every single thing that's in there. This reading right here is actually kind of challenging, isn't it? It's pretty long. It's about the average Brazilian, and there may be some words, some things in there that your students won't know. Do they have to know everything to be considered a good reader? No. And they're just learning that. And so the point that we want to make, in fact, what's happened in this book, the authors actually wrote these readings a tad bit above what's in there to challenge them a little bit, okay? Because that's how they're going to encounter readings out in the real world. We don't want to baby them, we want to give them a little bit more. So you will get questions from students about some of the vocabulary, some of the things, that's fine, don't let it bother you, because again, if they get the gist, if they get the major part of it, that's what's important. And then there's all the reading skill introduced, okay? That's basically the point I wanted to make here, is that the readings are in there, teach the reading skills that are there. They do not have to be perfectionistic about everything, know every single word, but they get the gist of it, and it's reviewing, most importantly, reviewing the grammar and the vocabulary that they were practicing on. Okay, any questions about that? There are additional readings in the workbook too, so they get reinforced again in the workbook. Okay, let's finish then the unit, walk through page 32 and 33. We're not going to go into this, but there are tons of the English in action activities, and these are fun. Now, if you do perchance run out of time in your semester or in your week, if you're going to cut anything, I would suggest maybe this would be the part where you could kind of back off and cut back a little bit. This is, to me, the most fun part, and the more interactive part, and the more open-ended part, but should you need to cut back, this would maybe be the part that you want to cut back. Okay? And that's essentially a unit. Does that give you a sense of the pacing and the timing for the student book?
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Now, the workbook, I'm not really going to spend any time with because it's self-explanatory. I think some of you have looked at it. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but I do have one question. Do you give this out as homework, or do you do it in the classroom? In the classroom. Yeah, I would prefer doing it in the classroom. I think adult students oftentimes do not have time to do it at home. And they will just not do it at home because they're working, they have their families, etc. So please, I mean, oftentimes I find it best to incorporate it in the classroom, to do it in the classroom. Very good. Any questions about the workbook? Yes.
Keys to the answers?
The answer keys are in the teacher's guide, I believe.
Just one quickie
In
question.
the teacher's guide? Yeah, go ahead.
This CD says CD 102. Are they both in here?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
They're both in there, yes.
Okay.
In the advanced level, there are two CDs. In the beginning level, it's just one.
Okay. Okay.
You know, your question, I don't think they're in this teacher's guide.
There are no answer keys.
The answer keys, if they're not in the teacher's guide, I know they are. We do have them. They're online.
Maybe, yeah.
Now, the answer keys are online on our website. And, if you want to go to our website, if you turn to the back of any of our books where it says elt.hindley.com, elt.hindley.com, and just look up English in Action, and there's a teacher's website. You go to that teacher's website, and you get the answer keys in the channel. That's a very good question. Thank you.
So
for doing
any student can go and get the answer keys?
that.
That's why you don't.
Unless you tell
Don't tell them.
I don't need a user or password. Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's a good
Yeah,
question.
last year we had the answers at the back of the book, the workbook.
Yes.
And last year.
Yeah, they were.
And a lot of these are printed on the 3 pages. Not all of them, but.
Okay, question?
In the teacher's guide.
This is a lot of
Yeah.
work, but should you want additional work? The last time you were here, you told us about another book that we didn't pick that had all kinds of handouts for the
Activities,
students.
yes, activities.
Is that available to us as well?
No.
With
that
this
goes-
book?
No, that
No,
goes,
it only goes to
they only go to the standout series. Good
Stand
question.
up.
Standout has that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what I want to do now, we've got 45 minutes. I'd like to go through the presentation tool, the interactive CD, and exam view. Okay? Can we do that real quickly? Because this is the stuff that you can use with your projector. So let's do the presentation tool first.
Because I have
I
no
know.
band.
I was gonna pick up my iPad, but everybody can see it, so.
Yeah, but then you're more mandarin.
Now, for those of you who have these in the classroom, this is designed for an interactive whiteboard, all right? I've not used this particular whiteboard, but I understand you have to use one of these pens, okay? And is it Harold?
Yeah.
Harold was this is his room, he's an expert at it, so if I fall flat, he can help me out a little bit. But
So
I'm using
is
this.
this the interactive CD?
This is the, no, this is the presentation tool. This is the
Jealous.
presentation tool, okay?
I got an old stupid board.
If you have, that's right, he's got an old stupid board. If you have a projector, though, you can still do this on a regular projector in the screen and still be effective, you just don't touch it up here. So if you're doing this, what was the section we were on 2? Oh, this is book 4, it's a different book. Doesn't matter, let's just go to changing lifestyles. Sure. Hello, is this working? There it goes, okay.